for this long for a while.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we can start talking about, like, what do you want out of this?
Out of the podcast?
Yeah, or out of, just out of, like, what kind of experience do you feel like you might possibly gain from this?
Different viewpoints, really.
Yeah.
As you know, I grew up with a very strict fucking mindset and a strict household.
Yeah.
And it's been the past couple of years that it started to change.
Yeah.
And it's taken a lot. And mostly your guys' family is what really brought that change on.
Yeah, definitely.
So, how about you?
I think there's like an element of comfort that I want to find in myself that I haven't really yet gotten. Like, when I think about who I am as a person, I'm comfortable with certain aspects of my life, but I'm not really comfortable, like, in my skin, talking, like, truly opening up and understanding that vulnerability that, like, I know a lot of people are very comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like, I met this girl last year when I was in paramedic school, and I remember when I was talking to her, I was just sitting at, like, the cafe bar or whatever, and I was just like, like, what do you want from life? And he's so funny. But I asked her, I was like, what do you want from life? And she's just like, well, I know that I am very codependent, and I aspire to meet somebody who helps me to not be codependent, and like that I know that I have good boundaries that are to the left, to the right, front and the back, and I was fucking blown away by that.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it just seems so understood.
I mean, I think what blew me away about you telling that story is the self-recognition that she had.
Yeah.
For her issue. For the whole being comfortable thing, do you think it's good to be comfortable with yourself?
I mean, I know that there's like a shameless level that some people have.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to be that comfortable. Like, I don't want to, like we were talking about earlier, like, I don't want to go run around naked.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't interest me, like, at all.
Right.
But being comfortable, being vulnerable, and not really caring, or like knowing what my boundaries are.
Yeah.
Like, that is, I think, really important, which I think kind of brings us into the conversation that we were having earlier about why do we care so much about the things that we don't care about?
Yeah, I understand that. Really, so the whole comfortability aspect to me, I thrive when I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it produces a lot more change. So, like, for example, hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Like, so it's changed me a lot. That's why I was asking, is like, is there good that can come from being uncomfortable to you?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, all right, let's dive into a really difficult question, right? So, your wife,
yeah,
my sister,
yeah,
she wants a baby. She'd like to be pregnant, right? But she cares so much about her job that she does not even love,
yeah,
that she fucking hates, that obviously brings her stress,
yeah,
right? She cares so much about that she almost puts that ahead of her real want.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, not that she doesn't want to have a baby. She does want to have a baby.
Yeah.
But she allows the stigma of the military service of, women who have children are lesser or a burden being the big one. We all know.
Yep. I mean, I think we all know some people that do it on purpose and do create that burden. And then, in our case, I don't think it's that. I know she wants a kid.
Yeah.
At least I hope I know she wants a kid. Because that's something that we spent a long time talking about.
Yeah.
A long time. And she's getting better with the whole, like, her job ruling her, I guess is how I'd put it. Not being so much of a slave is how I'd see it,
Yeah.
Being a slave to your work. And sometimes you got to put down the ego with your work life.
Yeah.
That way you can continue your family life. If you don't do that, it's going to create a lot of stress.
Yeah. I guess it would be good to point out right now, just at the camera, I'm pointing straight at you, whoever may possibly listen to this or who might try to get us in trouble for this later. These things that we're talking about have or do not in any way represent the U.S. military whatsoever. Yes, we definitely are in the military, but we are not representing the military. These are just the opinions of people who have been working for a few years within the government, and we're just talking. That's all it is.
I'd also say we're entitled to those opinions.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, I'm sure that some JAG lawyer is going to disagree with that, but that's okay.
Yeah, he gives a fuck. You know? I mean, they dehumanize us, so for somewhat of a good reason.
I mean, does that dehumanization come back down to, like, caring about things that we really don't care about? So, like, when I first joined the Army, I cared so much, right? Like, I wanted to be, like, this big, bad soldier. I wanted to go to the 82nd Airborne. I wanted to, like, jump out of planes and do this crazy shit. And once I got there, I realized that nobody else cared.
Yeah.
Right? So, and there was this, like, it was almost wrong of you to care. You know, it was almost like we were a better, much more well-oiled machine, the less that we cared about it.
Yeah.
Except, it's not really that nobody cared, it's that they cared so much that they were all burnt out.
Yep. I think I see it a lot for sure in my community. You know, obviously you see it. It's also looked down upon to be like Moto Joe in the military.
What does that mean?
Like so motivated and caring about your job so much and really expecting the most out of you and everybody around you.
Yeah.
You know, I see it as being very looked down. So, and that sometimes really kills it for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
You know, we got certain ways we have to do things. They're not done that way.
Yeah.
They're not done that certain way, for the most part. But I don't know. Do you see it like that a lot in your community?
So you said Moto Joe, which is I've never heard that before. That must be a Navy term.
Kinda. Joe Navy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. High speed.
Yeah.
High speed, low drag.
Okay.
Like, calm down there, high speed. You know, like, you see especially young kids. They come in really motivated, and I had a soldier. I can't stand this kid. He is he's something else, but he would always tell me, "Oh, I'm the Swiss Army knife, or the jackknife of all the privates," you know. And he just had like this want and this desire to be like the best.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel real. It just kind of felt like he would put other people down in order to like get ahead, and it just didn't seem like a real authentic like way of being, you know.
Yeah. And some people put on that show to make it seem like they're better than everybody else. You know, false confidence, like a bravado. It's really annoying to see that sometimes. You know.
Yeah, I agree. Or like the silent sufferer. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of like the person that just deals with whatever bullshit is going on around them and takes it in and allows it to happen. Or I mean.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like you get a dude that's like every tasking that comes down his way, he's like, I'll take it, whatever. You know, I'll do this, whatever. I got this, whatever. And his personal life is falling apart.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's probably had 2 divorces. You know, he's got kids he doesn't see. Probably an alcoholic. I mean, I can think of so many people that I've worked with that, like, they seemed so motivated and so, like, just their head on their shoulders, but, like, they had nothing good going on at home.
Yeah.
You know?
So, where do you fall in that range?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know?
I think recently, with my current failures that I've seen for myself, I think that I was the silent sufferer for a really long time.
Yeah.
Shitty marriage, fucking just abusive, verbally and physically. Um, no, like, no outlet, no positive outlet. And I would just show up to work and keep doing what I do, and I was angry.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, if there's anybody that watches this that knows me personally from that time in my life, they're gonna be like, yeah, that dude was a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Like a hardcore dick. I was a silent sufferer, and I took it out on a lot of people silently. Not like in a cutthroat way, like, I'm gonna destroy your career.
Right.
Never been like that ever. That's an entirely different type of person. But I had a failure recently. I went to paramedic school on the Army's dime, and when I was going like halfway through it, right, and so I was at this kind of weird point where it's like, okay, I'm an E5, a sergeant, and this school for me determines, am I really cut out to stay enlisted and to continue being a medic and doing all this stuff, right? And when I didn't fail the school, but I didn't get my certificate. Right. So I passed like the school portion, so I can still try and take the test to get my certificate. But when I didn't get that certificate, it was so clear that I couldn't keep on doing what I was doing. Like, I couldn't continue to be a silent sufferer.
Yeah.
I couldn't just like put this fake face on of like, yeah, the Army's everything and it's gonna work out, because it wasn't. Like, I think that was my first real failure.
Yeah.
Like, within the military, like, on a personal level, not on like an interpersonal level, like from me to you and you to me, like, because I've had falling outs with a lot of people and great friendships as well, but like, that was like my first personal fucking failure that like I thought it was gonna be easy. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna fucking get it, and if I had gotten it, I would have continued to silently suffer.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, that was enough to keep me like salivating like a fucking dog for more.
Right.
More mediocrity, more. And here's the thing: I don't even want to be a medic.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I'm not interested in medicine. That was just the natural progression of what silent suffering gets you when you're starting to go up. It's like, you start out as a medic. You think you're going to be high speed. You think you're going to be with an infantry platoon.
Yeah.
You think you're going to go save some lives and kill some bad guys, right? And then, well, what's next? You either go to paramedic school, or you become a ranger, or you go to SFAS, or you go to PSYOPs or CA, and it's like, if you don't do any of those cool things, then you just are like, all right, I guess I'm gonna be the normal medic, and I'm gonna continue to do paperwork, and I'm gonna continue to like look after people I don't care about, and like, some people, that's what they want, that's what they love.
Yeah.
But they're not the silent sufferers.
Right.
It's the people who secretly want more.
Yeah.
And they're too afraid to go get it.
Yeah, and it's a massive fear. I think a lot of people have. Like, you and I both trying to go in different officer routes. Like.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing. It's scary to even start.
Yeah.
But we have that drive inside of us. And I guess I don't know what that drive is, but to be better, or to not be stuck in, I guess, a warehouse mentality, staying in the same job.
Yeah.
Our whole entire career.
Yeah.
With no to progress so high, but being stuck there.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I'd like to caveat on this as well, and say that, like, if your interest and want is to definitely be in the military and do these things, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no.
No, like, if that's your passion, like, I know some guys that it's like, that's their passion, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely, I love to see them progress.
Yeah.
I love to see that. I think that for you and I, what it was is, we are tired of feeling tired.
Yeah.
We're tired of caring about what we don't care about.
Yeah.
Definitely,
for sure.
Yeah.
And for civilians that might be listening, I feel like a lot of civilians, they have this idea that we have this urgent want to do this, to do this job.
Yeah.
And you know, it might have started out like that. It did start out like that for most of us, many people. But like we said, it gets to where we get burnt out. And it doesn't mean we don't care about the country, or we don't care about our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of just means we're not growing in the ways we need to be.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, what's that famous phrase? It takes a village.
Yeah.
You know, like there are so many different people, so many different jobs, and it's like I used to get to see it all the time when I was in the 82nd, where you know here's a guy that's become a PA or a doctor,
Right.
and I'd be like, oh, you know, what was your job before this? And they're like, I was in the infantry for like 12 or 13 years, or I was this or that, and I was a sergeant first class before I became an officer, and you know, it's like that doesn't mean that they're betraying or turning their back on something else. It just means that the passion that they wanted, they were tired of what they were doing.
Yeah, they grew.
Yeah, they grew. And again, this is not to like be downtrodden on those who do want to, because I mean, like, I know, like, especially for me and for you both, I know, like, you're the airframing community, I'm the medical community. Like, I see medics, they live and they die by being like in the dirt, the mud,
Yeah.
all of that, you know, and it's great.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that there are guys for you that like I don't know, what's your type of the same thing?
I mean,
The dirt, the mud.
the dirt, the mud, getting out there on the flight line, fucking working on helicopters, making sure they fly, watching them take off.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of guilty of loving that too,
Yeah.
of being out there and being the worker and just hurting myself
Yeah.
for the job. And
Yeah.
a lot of people do it.
I mean, okay, so there's like this a concept though that I was told about in therapy. I fucking love therapy. You can be this and that.
Yeah.
You can be a fucking shitty dude and also a great guy.
Yeah.
You can be a shitty husband and also a good
Yeah.
husband. You
Yeah.
know, like you can be all sorts of things. So like, I loved being a medic.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was actually being a medic.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And you got to do the job.
Yeah, but I also kind of felt like it was something to do at the time.
Yeah.
It was a stepping stone. It was the thing I did when I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I think also you and I have found ourselves in like a really odd position. Like we both were at very active commands, you know.
Very active.
You know,
Yeah.
like doing really cool stuff, both of
Yeah.
us, you know. Being a part of the same operations, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And then,
Like being deployed at the same time.
yeah,
In the same area,
yeah,
essentially.
for the same reason.
Yeah.
And we both got transferred to a command that is much slower paced,
Yeah.
much less work, you know, a lot more saving face with people and talking. And that's a hard thing. It's a hard transition.
Yeah.
And you know, before I had known on the 2017 cruise that I was on, you were out there. You were what country?
I was in Iraq.
Iraq?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
in Iraq.
So you were in Iraq. We were out there same time, and that's when I saw the army flying board. And I wanted to do that,
Yeah.
but I got real caught up in my job. And once again, sacrificing myself for the job and not
Yeah.
doing what I really wanted to do. And then I guess it was a kind of blessing in disguise that I came to where I'm at now. And then, you know, you came and stayed here with us and
Yeah.
started this whole process. And it reinvigorated me for it, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad that it did.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's interesting what you said there because it kind of made me think back to that comment you made about dehumanization. We sacrifice ourselves for the greater good. We stop seeing ourselves as human beings with wants and needs for the greater good.
Yeah.
You know, we stop seeing ourselves as needing to pursue passions
Right.
for the greater good. I have a story. It makes me sick whenever I think about it, actually. So I won't say her name, but there was a soldier a few years ago, back in 2017, 2016, I believe. And this female was so brilliant. Just, I mean, patient, kind, loving, hardworking. took care of her people all the time, right? She was an E5. She's out now. She's living that good life. But I remember that our commander at the time, again, I won't say her name, she told the soldier, an enlisted soldier, she said, I would love to deploy you, right? Deployments don't come by all the time, especially in the 82nd. They just don't. Now they're coming by all the time, but like, I mean, my specific unit didn't deploy for I think 4 or 5 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, there was just nothing to do, nowhere to go, right?
Yeah.
So the one deployment comes around, and like a lot of people in that unit at the time, they were about to get out. And so for me, for instance, like I was gonna go to a different unit, and then they said, hey, if you deploy with us, like one, that looks good on you, and two, but there's a problem, you've got to extend your time. So I extended my time. I was like, I'm willing to take that hit on the chin. Grateful that I did, because I learned the most amazing things in the world, for me as a person, as a soldier. But for that girl, the commander told her, I would love to deploy you, but I need you to stay here because you are the only person that I trust with my hand receipts. So hand receipts in the Army basically is somebody's in charge of a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money, a lot of equipment, right? And so she didn't let her deploy because she didn't want to go through the trouble of transferring the responsibilities and duties of this one NCO to any other NCO. We had multiple that didn't want to deploy, and they stayed. And she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to do that for this soldier. This soldier lost out on a deployment for the greater good.
Yeah. That's one of those bullshit scenarios.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
People don't want to do the work.
No.
And then it fucks people.
Yeah.
And so, like, at least I see it as, in the Navy at least, deployment is like, for most people, is like, that's the best part of their career.
Yeah.
You get to go see bombs being dropped. You get to go, feel like you're doing something for greater good.
Yeah.
And when you take that away from people, man, it's rough. Like our 2017 cruise, we had like, I think 42 people that were going to go out with us, 3 helicopters, and right before, I think it was a couple weeks before we left, our maintenance master chief, he's a funny dude. He cut down our manning on that deployment.
Yeah. Probably
for some reason, I don't know. Whatever, it is what it is. But we all cried when we were all out in the hangar, and everybody was just like, we were sad because we had spent all of these months working up with each other, just going out on the boat for months at a time.
Yeah.
Working at home together, weekends, 8 days, 7 days a week, 8 days a week. I almost said 8 days a week.
I mean, it feels like
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7 days a week, man. Like, and they become family because we spend more time with them than family a lot of times.
Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Spend more time at work and until recently with the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Spend more time at work than at home.
Oh, speaking of which, we're not socially distanced enough, but I really don't care.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
We live together.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter,
Yeah, no, I understand that though. Like it's really rough when you cut people.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I know that there are a lot of reasons that they cut people for the deployments. Like a lot of it has to do with the money and what they can afford and who really should go and things like that. But we would all be lying, and every service member, whether you're active duty or a veteran, that we would all be lying if we didn't know or say that we didn't know that there are people who are pulling strings because they fucking can.
Yeah.
There's a lieutenant somewhere that just wants to deploy.
Yep.
So he's going to take the spot of an E3, E4
Yep.
with no real job to go do, but hey, he deployed.
Yep.
Well,
a lot of the times you make a lot more money on deployment.
Oh, I mean, every time you make more money.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then you go see some cool stuff, and it's crazy. In the Navy, we call it RHIP. Rank has its privileges.
Ooh, that's good. I've never heard that before.
And motherfuckers use that, and they use it to get their deployments. For example, that Master Chief that I was telling you about, we deployed to the Middle East, out there tax-free, as you know.
Yeah.
And then you're also making, $130 a day per diem.
That's only the Navy, because I did not make per diem.
Well, yeah, you weren't in the chill spot.
Yeah.
You know, but out there, you know, he would go out for the last day of the first month of the year and the first day of the next month, and then just continuously do that every other month. That way, he had tax-free the whole entire year, and it was considered, you know, RHIP. I guess his privileges.
It certainly does. It certainly does. I've got some really interesting stories about deployment specifically and the things that I witnessed. And I'd like to say that if the people that were on deployment with me ever watch this, I have nothing against you. I think that, you know, like, I'm a prime example of, hey, I use what I've got.
Yeah, get away with what you can.
Get away with what you can. Do what your rank can afford.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, there were some things that I saw that I was like, if this goes wrong,
Yeah.
if something happens that you didn't expect, if you want to go off base with a specific country
Yeah.
of people, and because you want to, and you're going to use your rank because you know nobody's going to tell you no, the consequences are certainly only on you.
Oh yeah.
You know, but they're really not, because you know,
Anybody
like,
who knows.
if anybody who knows, first of all.
Yeah.
Secondly, your consequences will be traced back to your commanders.
Yep.
And your commanders will be relieved if anything bad happened to you because of a decision that you made.
Yeah.
You know, and right now I'm only talking about the officers that I've worked with. Again, I really liked these specific people, really liked them. Had a great time with them. But there were some situations and some moments that I was like, you want to go off post by yourself with a foreign country to go eat dinner at so-and-so's house in Iraq? What?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Ignorance knows no bounds.
I don't even know if it's ignorance. You know, I think for that specific person, boldness, very bold. I wouldn't call it ignorance. I would just call it, you know how, like, young guys and young gals, they have, like, this, nothing's gonna hurt me mentality.
Superman.
Like, the Superman thing. I felt like that's what she specifically, she had that, you know, she could talk really well. She could get her way out of problems. She could get her way into and out of solutions for things, and it was amazing to watch, but it was scary also.
Well, yeah, it'd be scary, and I would say even that Superman complex is a little bit ignorant because
Yeah.
you always have that chance, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, shit, I've done some dumb things, but I didn't always think about the consequences. I wish I would have.
Yeah,
That stuff I wouldn't have done,
yeah.
and I guess maybe I would have, but you know, Captain Hindsight over here.
I don't know about you. I often do think back on my military and personal life, and I think, you know, would I have changed anything? You know, like, really, would I have? Because I can look back and I can pinpoint brand new, coming into a brand new unit, not knowing anybody, right? And I remember that I had an opportunity to hang out with this guy. He's in civil affairs now, I believe, and I don't know whether he's in or out now. But the guy was he was just a really wonderful human being, right?
Yep.
Like, very motivated, worked out all the time. He would have been the perfect person for me to latch onto.
Yeah.
You know, as a young private, like, not really knowing what my direction in the military was going to be. And instead of latching onto him, even though he gave me the invite several times, like, hey, let's go run, let's go biking, let's go do this. Have you thought about CA? Have you thought about PSYOPs? You know, I chose to hang out with a different group of people, and it led me down a really dark path.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
feel that. Hanging out with the party boys sometimes. You know?
We were the party boys.
That's
We
how
were
it
the party
works.
boys. And I thought, man, this is what's going to help me get ahead. And this is what's going to, because everybody likes everybody. But, like, that was not the case. Now, would I go back and change it? No. No.
You might not have ended up where you are now.
Well, that,
With the
and
same mindset.
it's a cop-out, really, because, like, who could honestly say that I would have actually been motivated? Like, I, as a 27-year-old now, I have the motivation for myself.
Yeah.
You know, that I didn't have that back then. I was very moldable. I was highly unmotivated, unless motivated by others.
Right.
Right? And now I see the difference between, hey, I need to have motivation, and motivation doesn't last, and I need to have discipline. And discipline does last because you can force that on yourself every single day.
Discipline equals freedom. One of the best books you could ever read.
Who wrote that?
Jocko Willink.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely, I agree with you there. The whole discipline thing.
Yeah.
I guess for me, if I changed anything, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't ever think to change anything.
Yeah.
Not very religious here, but I do think things happen for a bit of a reason, or karma, and I feel like if I changed something, I'd be going against that whole the way my life's gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a hard question.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people that I've asked this question of, they'd say, yeah, I would never do that. You know?
Yeah. I think if they did say it, they probably don't know themselves that well. If they did say, yeah, I would change something, they probably just don't know themselves that well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of self-growth that results from really troubled times.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that there are hundreds of thousands of veterans and active duty service members that, you know, there are things that should never happen.
Yeah.
Like, ever. You know, like an example is the female that's missing from Fort Hood.
Yeah.
You know, nobody knows what happened to her, but it feels like everybody knows exactly what happened to her.
Yeah.
That should never have fucking happened.
No, it's unfortunately blatantly obvious.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It really is.
I think I was reading that she had told some of her, I don't know, you guys call them supervisors or NCOICs,
Yeah.
about the whole issue. And if a sailor said anything like that to me, I would drop everything that I'm doing. And we're going up. We're going to go fucking get this figured out. And you're not seeing anybody else unless it's my chief or my division officer.
Yeah.
You know, or my OIC.
But it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it's I'm trying to think of what I would say. It's like, it's wrong.
I mean, it
You
is.
know,
Yeah, and that's what I'm
it's
saying. Like,
wrong.
those things should never happen.
No.
Those things should never happen. I mean, we could do a whole fucking 2 hours, I guarantee it, on the abuse. It makes me so sick, man.
I mean,
The things that happen to a lot of these young women.
oh yeah.
It just makes me. I'll say this: the happiest I've ever been, ever, like listening to a group of young men talk about something negative, was I was in Iraq, and it was me and a group of infantry guys. I happened to be assigned as their medic, right?
Yeah.
So I don't remember what we were doing. I think we were just training up and we were doing all this stuff, right? It was real late at night, and we had just gotten back from a mission, going out of the wire, came back, and we were all just kind of chilling afterwards. And somebody made a comment about rape. And I was like, man, in my head, I was like, this is about to go so bad. And then I saw, now granted, I'm a preface, we are a different generation than our previous soldiers and sailors
Yeah.
and Marines, right?
Yeah.
Very different generation. And I'm glad for that. Because I was so delighted to hear these, like, red-blooded Americans saying I would fucking kill anyone.
Yep.
If I saw or heard of them raping somebody, I would fucking kill them. I remember they were getting so heated. They were like, like they were saying crazy shit, like
Yeah.
crazy shit about what they do to the people that rape or sexually assault others. And my dumbass was like, well, why do you guys feel that way? And a lot of them were like, my wife was raped, my girlfriend was raped, my sister was raped, my daughter was raped. Like, you know, like we have a very, very intense experience with sexual assault and rape. Like we either have been or know someone
somebody.
that has been, you know, and I think that like in that moment I did whatever I could honestly to encourage, like, yeah, be angry,
Yeah.
fucking, you know, give in, you know, like
Fuck
let that
'em up.
anger, yeah, exactly, fuck them up, because it's so important that we, like, that's a justified anger.
Yeah, I think that anger also can really help stop the problem. I mean, as stupid as that sounds, you know, if you were, let's say this, if there was somebody who raped people in that group of men, they heard all these people saying they would fucking kill them,
Yeah,
fucking murder them, or hurt them, or just, you know, whatever.
yeah,
You know, we've heard it. I've said it. You know, fuck, I would kill somebody.
yeah,
And I think that could help slow it or stop it. I mean, it's not ever going to stop it.
yeah,
You should know that, but it might help curb the problem.
yeah. I think that kind of anger directed at from men to other men is a positive thing, because it puts you in your place.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not going to be accepted around here if I tell somebody
Yeah.
that I did something horrific.
Yeah.
You know, and that's good. Like, fuck you.
Yep.
You shouldn't be accepted.
Nope.
You should be ostracized.
For sure.
You know, like you definitely should. So I'm really, you know, kind of coming full circle. I'm very sad about the female in Fort Hood. I really am.
Yeah, it's very sad. And then, like I was telling you, I think it was yesterday, the article I was reading, that there were like 8 or 9 missing bodies out of Fort Hood this year.
Yeah.
Just Fort Hood alone.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know,
I don't get it.
it sounds a little bit.
It sounds kind of sketchy. It's Now I'm gonna preface right now and say as well that I don't know exactly what units they belong to.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the details. I am not in Fort Hood, though I am supposed to PCS to Fort Hood very soon. Hopefully.
Well, good luck, 'cause there's, you know,
yeah,
they
definitely.
don't have a good track record.
No, definitely not.
So.
But yeah, man, it doesn't sound right. There's something. It sounds very off.
I mean, at a very basic level, a lack of leadership if you're losing that many soldiers
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing if you're deployed.
And this leads to a lot of disillusionment.
Yeah.
Like I've been seeing a lot of posts recently about women who are in the service currently that currently are veterans, and they post their picture alongside, I think her name is Vanessa Guillen.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what her name is. We should probably look that up, honestly, so that we're not like
Sounding ignorant.
sounding ignorant. Yeah. But they're posting pictures alongside her picture, and it's like, here's she's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
You know, God, I can't. It hurts my heart so much for her family, but like, she's beautiful, and then there's these other girls that are posting their pictures, and they're all beautiful. You know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, not that means anything, but they're posting it alongside, and they're sharing their story of sexual assault,
Yeah.
or rape, or sexual harassment, or whatever, and I'm honestly surprised. I mean, we're right now in this time. What is it? It's 2020. Is it June or July?
June.
It's June.
About ready to be July.
Yeah, it's about ready to be July. We have gone through so much in 2020 alone. Whether you believe, whatever you believe in, politics-wise, whatever,
Yeah.
it's just been a really rough time.
It's been weird.
It's been a weird time.
For sure.
And and that being said, you know, there's a lot of rage fatigue.
Yeah.
You know.
Just fatigue of being inside your fucking house, dude.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You know, so I'm not surprised that it's not taking off how it would if we had less going on in our country.
Yeah.
You know, but like I'm saddened to see that it's not a big deal.
I'm saddened to see the way the Army's handling it. Just now bringing it to investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, really, somebody's missing, that should be immediately investigated.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had been investigating it.
Yeah.
CID works very quickly.
Yeah.
They really do. Now, I'm not going to say CID is the best, because
Right.
I don't know. I've never been involved with CID. But I've met a few people who have worked in CID, and they talk about how it's like it's quick.
Yeah.
And when they talk about it being quick, just from kind of the conversations I've had with some of these people, it leads me to believe, and again, this is all just hearsay. What the fuck do I know? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
It leads me to believe that a lot of people are involved.
Yeah.
And sometimes human behavior, whoever the leader of this group is probably more terrifying than anything else that could be coming their way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if there's a large group of people, or even a small group of people that were involved with the disappearance of this girl, whoever is in charge of that has got to be one of the most scary motherfuckers to keep this many people quiet.
They gotta have a lot of power
for this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot, maybe a lot of power, but a lot of influence, at least.
Yeah.
And that case, I don't know the dude's rank or anything like that. The dude who was reportedly harassing her.
I think from what I read, it was her E5 NCO, maybe E6. I'm not sure.
So it sounds like up and down that chain of command, they're playing in some muddy water.
Yeah, very muddy. Very muddy. And this just adds to the feeling of dehumanization, man.
Yeah, and mistrust.
Yeah, and mistrust. I mean, that's really what it is. Why would you want... We find ourselves in these weird situations where we're like, we want more, we want to be more involved with the military, we want to do better and bigger things, but it's like, you know what you're up against.
Yeah. It's a game. So much so it's a game.
Yeah.
We talk about that often. So, I mean, it's a dirty, disgusting game. And civilians don't get that. I don't think. They see military as being held up as being the best.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad. I'm glad they're just patriots like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they don't know the truth.
And this is where, again, we come back to, you can really hate a lot about your job.
Yep.
And also love a lot about your job. Because you love your country. I love my country.
Yeah.
I love being an American. I really do. I'm not very happy with some of the things that are happening.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with a lot of things that are happening, but that doesn't mean that I wish ill will on anybody in the country.
Right.
It just means that we're allowed to feel disillusioned, and we're allowed to feel that things could be better. And I personally feel like what this podcast is, and what we're trying to aim to do, is to bridge a gap between anybody. Any bridge that can be gapped. We're trying to just be there and make it clear, like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
This is a part of our solution. We're talking about it.
Definitely.
Figuring out the why.
Yeah.
Instead of just dwelling on the feelings.
Yeah.
This is a part of the why. And I hope that whoever comes across this, wherever you are, you can find comfort, you can find comedy, you can find a lot of saltiness.
And a fair amount of ignorance on my part.
Oh, no ignorance here, and a lot of hope.
Yeah.
I think that we can find a lot of hope in the continued conversations that we are going to be having.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody can.
Yeah.
I mean, so before that, whatever, post-log that we were talking about. So I think this is a pretty unpopular opinion.
Yeah. I
think where we're at as a country is the best we've ever been. How do you think about that? Do you think that's a possibility?
You're thinking that?
I think so.
Okay. Well, that's a rabbit hole.
It is, but I'm just saying it on a very basic level.
Okay.
And I can explain, or you can,
I would like to hear your explanation.
Okay, my explanation. So, alright. Back in the 60s, civil rights movement, black people had no rights.
Yeah.
They grew into having rights, right?
Yeah.
They were allowed that, I guess that sounds really bad.
No. This is the opportunity for you to explain what you're saying instead of just attacking.
Yeah, so they allowed that.
Yeah.
And then, growing up through that, I didn't grow up through that, but just the country as a whole growing through that.
Yeah.
They gained more and more rights, right? And then 90s and early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
gays started, or homosexuals started getting more and more rights.
Yeah.
And more recognized, right?
Yeah.
They were never before.
Yeah.
And they were really put down. And then going through, 2010 to fucking, up to now, we've grown as a country in a lot better way, I'd say.
Yeah.
We're the most open that we've ever been as a country.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Right? A
Definitely.
lot. And it's not lost on me that there are a lot of things wrong. And I'm not saying this is where we should stop. But
That's very. Let's point that out. This is not where we should stop.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Yeah, not where we should stop.
The progressive mindset's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm saying with this being the best time this country's ever had.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
I would say that I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's a really tricky subject because in the Constitution itself, it talks about how we have a large amount of people. I'm paraphrasing a lot. We have a large amount of people, right? And we have a small group, but they are also citizens. And they also need to have their needs met,
Dealt
right?
with.